Hey y'all, Dixie here. Because I just posted a video several days ago about night hiking, I thought it would be a good idea to share with y'all a story about night hiking. And if you remember a while back, I shared my most sketchiest hitchhiking experience and told y'all that I might start doing some of the story time, and it seemed like folks were kind of up for that. So now I'd like to share with y'all my creepiest night hiking experience. So once upon a time in a faraway land called the Appalachian Trail, I was on a thru hike. And I was already about 500 or so miles in. I'd taken about a week off trail because one of my siblings was graduating high school and I had just returned back to the trail. And the folks that I had made friends with, known as my trail family or Tramily, were about a week ahead. So I decided to take on the challenge of catching up with them. I knew if I was gonna catch them that I'd have to start hiking more hours of the day, which meant I was gonna be doing a lot of night hiking. Sometimes not stopping until 3 or 4 in the morning when I would just kind of stumble around like a zombie, set up camp, and then wake up the next morning and do it all again. Because as many of you know, you don't always have service while you're backpacking, and then I didn't know if all of them would have service even when I did. The best way to find out if I was catching up with them or not was to check the shelter logbooks. On the Appalachian Trail, there are shelters, which are 3-sided structures that are spread, if I had to guess, about an average of 10 miles apart. And in each of those shelters, you'll find a notebook of some sort that usually has entries in it. And all of the folks that I was trying to catch up with would write in the shelter logbooks, "Catch up Dixie," and what date they were there, and usually if they were staying for the night or eating lunch. So I would check those every day and every time I would pass a shelter, because it was exciting to see if I was gaining on them or not. And I really didn't want them to know how close I was getting, because I had this idea in my mind that I would sneak up on them in the night while they were sleeping or something and surprise them. So anyway, as the days progressed, I started closing the gap more and more. One particular night while night hiking, I approached a shelter at about 2 a.m. and I had gotten pretty good at my ninja skills, so even though everybody was asleep, I managed to sneak in, grab the shelter logbook, and it was actually kind of wedged a little bit under somebody's sleeping pad, but I was able to pull it out, go off to the side, read it, find how close I was to my friends, sign the shelter logbook, with something like, "Came in like a thief in the night," or something like that, and then slid it back in. That way folks could get a laugh about it in the morning. And I left that shelter, put in my earbud, one, so I could still kind of hear the noises of the night in my other ear. And I had been listening to Fleetwood Mac's Rhiannon for like a while. Like I was kind of fixed on it for this particular stretch of night hiking several nights in a row, because it's kind of got a good beat that you can walk to, and it's got that creepy vibe to it that's perfect for night hiking. So anyway, I headed back into the woods listening to Rhiannon, and not long after I entered the woods, I noticed that a light appeared behind me, and I thought, oh no, I hope that I didn't wake somebody up and disturb them while they were trying to sleep. And I just kind of kept trucking along and thought, well, I'll have to be more quiet next time. So I kept kind of walking on, but I noticed that the light was kind of following me a little bit. And I thought, well, maybe they had to get up and go pee, and they kind of walked onto the trail a little bit to do that. So I trucked on for a couple more minutes, and I noticed that the light was still coming through the trees down the trail. And so then I started to worry a little bit. Like, have I made somebody mad and they're coming after me to like give me a lecturing, or, what's going on here? So I kind of picked up the pace a little bit, and the light still followed. So trying to justify it in my mind any way I could, I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody else is not hiking. But again, now it's past 2 a.m. Like, what kind of crazy fool is out hiking on the trail past 2 a.m. other than me? So anyway, I decided that it was a little creepy to me to meet up with people on the trail at night, and I didn't know what this particular person's intentions might be. So I thought it best to just try to pick up my pace and go, at a faster speed to try to just kind of leave this person in the dust. So I'm trucking along a little bit faster, and after several more minutes pass, I still see that this person is behind me and keeping up with me at my faster pace, faster than most thru hikers would go, especially after a full day of hiking, and they're not falling back at all. So I start panicking and going as fast as I possibly can. I mean, y'all, I am basically running down the trail. And it was kind of a more damp night, so rocks and roots and stuff were slick. I was falling down and scrambling back up to go as fast as I can. My heart was pounding, and I thought, this person's coming after me, and surely it's not for a good reason if they are also running down the trail to catch me. So I'm just going, as fast as I can for as long as I can, and I am just about exhausted and run down. So the last thing I know that I can do, because it's not safe to turn around and head back to the shelter, and at this point I'm so far away that even if I screamed, nobody at the shelter is probably going to hear me. So I just did the only thing that I had left to do in me and the energy for, and that was ditch off the side of the trail into the brush and into the leaves and such. And I just hoped that if I cut off my headlamp and laid there, that maybe they would pass and not see me. And I had to do it quickly because they were gaining on me, and I was hoping that they wouldn't hear me ditch off. So I got down, and I'm just laying there like in tears, and I turned to look at the light that I know is quickly approaching, and in the darkness I realized that the light that's coming after me is the moon. The whole time I was about to kill myself getting away from the moon. There was nobody coming after me. It just had happened at almost perfect timing that as I was leaving the woods, the moon had risen. So I guess the moral of the story is that some people don't grow out of believing that there are monsters in the dark, or maybe just don't psych yourself out by listening to Rhiannon while night hiking. All right, y'all, well, I hope you enjoyed the story of my most creepiest night hiking experience. And I vowed, because I made such a fool out of myself, that I would never tell that story, but here we are. So if y'all have any stories like that where you've just really made a fool of yourself while backpacking or night hiking, then feel free to share that with me. Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you next time.